Okay. So yesterday, so we had started with this security protocols. So this is actually interesting topic, right? So and so if you now you only you can decide. So if this chapter interests you, then you can opt for this selective in your eighth semester, cryptography and network security. All right. So in the last class, we have seen the various attacks that are possible. So security threats, okay, eavesdropping, denial of service. So these things, viruses, worms, privacy, integrity. These are the security requirements, right? So privacy, integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, availability. So regarding these things, we have seen. Right? So privacy means confidentiality, maintaining confidentiality. When A is talking to B, so their communication should take place in a confidential manner. That means, if at all, so third person should not be able to know what they are talking about. Okay, even though the third person is able to catch hold of the content, but that should not make any sense to him. That should not make any meaning. Okay, it should not be meaningful. That means, so whenever A is sending to B, that means so the entire content has to be encrypted. Okay, so that encryption is done always with respect to some key which is known to the sender and the receiver. Okay, so the attacker, okay, eavesdropper will not be knowing about the key. So hence, so secrecy or privacy is maintained. So integrity, as you know, so the recipient, so whatever the sender has sent, the same thing should be received by the receiver. Okay, so there should not be a scope for alteration of the message in between. Okay, that should not be possible. So then authentication, as you know, so sender authentication and receiver authentication. So whenever receiver receives the message, so he should be able to verify that. So it has come from the authorized sender. Okay, even when the sender is sending the message to receiver, so he should also verify that he is sending the message to the authorized receiver. Okay, that is what is authentication. Okay, so non-repudiation means it is denial. So you have sent a message, you have sent a mail to somebody, and later on, so you deny. No, you can say that I have not sent that message at all. Okay, and even the receiver also. So you have actually sent the mail, but the receiver is denying. So I have not received the mail. Okay, so that is denial. That is called as repudiation. So non-repudiation is overcoming that, right? So then availability is, so for all the legitimate clients, the server should always be available for the service, right? So if I am a legitimate client, so if I want the service, if I want to have access to the service provided by the server, if I am denied, so then it is a sort of attack on availability. Okay, I am not able to have avail services from the server. Okay, so these are the different service requirements. So the different attacks. Okay, eavesdropping, client imposting. Okay, impersonalization. It is, so client is impersonizing. So here server. So it is denial of service. It is denial of service. Okay, attacker. So several requests have been sent by the attacker. So these things we have discussed yesterday, right? So now server is always kept busy so that the legitimate client is not able to avail services from the server. Okay, so this is server imposter. So fake server it is. Okay, fake server. So if a client discloses its identity and all, so then he will be in a mess. Okay, so then this is a man in the middle attack, right? So somebody is in between. Okay, now what he does, so this client and server, they are under the impression that they are talking to each other, but in fact they are talking with through this middleman. Okay, that is on all the communication is disclosed to him, so he can even modify the messages in between. So malicious code. So whenever you receive any mail or anything, so if you click on a particular link, so then some malicious code may get executed and it may lead to, say, viruses, worms. So anything can happen, right? Now, so these things up to this we had seen yesterday, right? Now, so there are various types of attacks that we have seen. Okay, threats and attacks. Now we will discuss about, so what we can do to overcome these attacks. Okay, so we have studied about the different types of attacks. You know what we can do. For example, now let us say confidentiality or privacy. Privacy we want to achieve, right? So how can we achieve privacy? So it is, so these are the different measures. So countermeasures. So encryption is one measure. Okay, encryption is one measure. So this is a measure to attain privacy or confidentiality. So cryptographic checksums and hashes. Okay, so these are, I think you know what is hashing, right? Okay, now whenever a message, okay, a big message is there, okay, so that message can be, we can always obtain a hash of it, okay. So hashing, so that we normally call it as a message digest, okay. So hash of a particular message, hash of a particular message, so we normally call it as a message digest, right? So that can be used, so that can be used for checking whether any modification is there or not, okay. So to avail the services of integrity, to avail the services of integrity, so what we can do is we can use cryptographic checksum and hashes, okay. And authentication, you know, it is authentication, right? Authentication, so it is because again, using the private key or the secret key, so we can always send the message. So then these are the digital signatures, digital signatures. Okay, sending the message using the private key. So that is a digital signature. Okay, so these are the different mechanisms, you can say. These are the different mechanisms that can be adopted to overcome the different attacks. Okay, to overcome the different attacks. Okay, and thereby so provide these services. Okay, which are these services? These services. So privacy, integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, availability. Okay, so these are the different services that are expected out of any security system. Okay, so these services can be availed, these services can be availed by adopting so these mechanisms. Okay, so these are the techniques or the mechanisms so that can be used to avail those services. Okay, as you see here, encryption. So by using encryption, you can avail privacy. So by using cryptographic checksum and hashes, you can avail message integrity. So by using authentication, you can avail authentication. So by using this digital signature, so you can attain that non-repudiation because it bears your signature. Okay, so you cannot deny it. Okay, so these are the various mechanisms so that can be used to provide different security services. Okay, and other things to protect. So to protect your resources, right? To protect your resources, so normally what we do. So how do we protect our house? So we have our main door. So again for that, so we have another grill. Okay, so these things we provide to secure our house. So similarly, to secure your computer system or your network, so from external attacks, so what you can do, so you have to secure your borders, right? Secure your borders in the sense the point at which, okay, so the point at which the information is entering into your network or the point at which the information is going from out of your network. Okay, so that is the border, that is a border of your network. Okay, so normally it is a router. Okay, router is the border at which the information enters into your network and the information goes out of your network, goes out of your network. Okay, so those borders have to be secured. Okay, by using what you can say the firewall. So firewall, so firewall is normally, it is a, generally firewall is a packet filter. Okay, so generally firewall is a packet filter. Every packet that is coming into the network, okay, so firewall is always kept at the border, okay, in the router, you can say. Okay, so what this firewall does is every packet that comes into the network, so that packet is opened, that packet is opened. So then the contents of the packet are checked with the various policies of the firewall. Okay, now you have programmed your firewall in such a way that so only the, what you can say, the messages that are in accordance with your policies, that are in line with your policies. So they enter into your network. They enter into your network, right? Similarly, outgoing packets also. Okay. So the firewall is going to allow those packets outside your network. So if and only if they comply with the policies that are, what you can say, that are built into the firewall, right? So firewall, it is normally, it is based on the organization policy. So which, okay, suppose, okay, so depending on the content also, okay. So which packets to allow in, which packets to block. Okay, so this is decided by the various policies. So that can be very well configured into the firewall, right? So by configuring firewall properly, so what you can do is you can block, okay, you can block the packets entering into the your network, entering into your network, and even you can block the packets going out of your network. Okay, so that is firewall. So it is basically, it is a packet filter. Okay, and virus checking. So it is done at a border. So no virus, so no, okay, so no virus can enter into your network. Intrusion detection, so no external attack, okay, so no external attacker can enter into your network. So authentication, so access control, so these are all the techniques that can be used to secure your borders. Okay, that means, so these things are normally kept at the, so how do you secure your borders? So this is using a firewall or a virus check, intrusion detection system, authentication, access control. Okay, so all these techniques are used at the borders, normally at the router. Okay, so any doubts? Any doubts you can ask? Yes, before I proceed further. So any doubts are there? Yes, please speak out. So that gives an indication. That gives an indication me to proceed further. At least, so that gives an impression to me that you are awake. Yes. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll continue with this security and cryptography. Now, these techniques, so these are the measures so that to attain those security services. So encryption and decryption. Okay, so encryption is a technique. So what encryption does is, so your message, whatever you are sending, so it transforms your message, right? So the your message is called as a plain text. Okay, whatever you want to send, so that is going to be called as plain text. So that message, it is transformed in such a way that it becomes unreadable. It becomes unreadable for other persons. But for the authorized recipient, so it will be readable. It will be readable. Okay. So encryption what it does, it encrypts or it transforms. So plain text is given as input to this encryption, right? What it does, it transforms your plain text so into a ciphertext, we call it as, right? So the encrypted text is called as ciphertext. Okay. So encryption what it does, it converts or it transforms a plain text into ciphertext. Okay. So plain text is in plain language, anybody can understand. But ciphertext is what? It is a transformed plain text, which is unreadable by others. Others means what? Unauthorized persons. But it is readable by the authorized receiver. Okay, now because why it is readable by the authorized receiver? Because the receiver is able to decrypt it. Okay, so now what happens? So plain text is taken at the, see, there is a sender and there is a receiver. Please visualize this. There is a sender, there is a receiver, right? So what happens? The sender, before sending the message, what he does, he encrypts it. He encrypts it and converts it into a ciphertext. So that ciphertext is sent. That ciphertext is sent it through the channel. Okay. So if anybody has access to the channel, he will be able to get only the ciphertext. So that is not readable. That is unreadable by the attacker, right? So once the ciphertext reaches the receiver, so what he does is he has to convert this ciphertext into again plain text. Okay, at the sending end, you are doing encryption. Encryption is what? Converting plain text into ciphertext. So this ciphertext is sent through the channel. So at the receiving end, what you will do? The receiver will receive the ciphertext. So you will convert that ciphertext into plain text. So that process is called as decryption. So decryption is recovery of the plain text from the ciphertext. Okay. So is it clear? Okay, now cipher is what? The algorithm. Okay, now for encryption, for performing encryption and for performing decryption, so you need some technique or some algorithm. Okay, so that is called a cipher system. That is called a cipher system or cipher, you can say. Okay, cipher is what? Cipher is an algorithm which performs encryption and decryption, which performs encryption and decryption. Okay, so how this encryption takes place, how this encryption takes place, so we will study it further. Okay, there are different techniques. So there are different techniques. Okay, so based on the key, which we call it a secret key. Okay, a secret key is required to perform encryption and decryption. Okay. So for performing encryption, suppose assume that uh, STMCT. So you want to encrypt. Okay. So you want to encrypt. Simple method I'm just telling. So just to give you an impression of what is encryption. So SDMCET. So if my key is two, okay, if my key is two, so SDMCET, what I will do if I encrypt it, so what I have to do is every letter I have to shift by two places. Okay, every letter I have to shift by two places. Yes, see, S is what? S becomes what? S plus 2. S plus 2 means UV. So S becomes V because so 2S I will add 2. Okay, so S is the plain text. So what I will do, I will add 2 to it. 2 because 2 is my secret key. So 2 I will add to it. So S becomes V. So then D. So I will add 2 to D. So then what happens? D, E, F. So SD is converted as VF. Then M. M plus 2. N, O. O is the, what you can say. So M becomes O. M is transformed to O. So like that. So what I will do, I will add 2 to each and every letter. I will add 2 to each and every letter. Are you getting my point? So SDMCT gets converted to what? So can you just work out and tell me? Every letter is shifted by 2. So SDMCT, if it is my plain text, so what will be the cipher text? So please work it out and tell me. Yes? Hello, I'm waiting for your reply. SDMCT, if I encrypt it by using secret key 2, so what will be the cipher text? Hello? Tell me. I'm waiting for your reply.
OEGV.
Yes?
UFOVG.
UFO
GV.
G
V.
OEGV.
UFOEGV, sir.
UFOEGV. Yes, good. Okay. So UFO. Okay. So UFOEGV. Okay. So now SDMCT gets converted into UFOEGV. Now, if you send UFOEGV, so nobody understands. Okay, normally UFOOGV, so nobody understands. So because that's what is ciphertext. Okay, so your SDMCT is plain text, so it is subjected to encryption. It is subjected to encryption using the secret key 2. Okay, so it gets converted to UFOEGV. So UFOEGV is what? It is a ciphertext, right? That ciphertext is sent through the channel. So if at all anybody receives it, so UFOEGV, so it makes no sense to him. Okay, but when it reaches the receiver, So receiver will be knowing about the key. So what he does, from every letter he subtracts 2. Okay. So from every letter he subtracts 2. So from U minus 2 he does. So he gets back to S. So similarly from F he subtracts 2. So he gets D. So like this, so so at the sending end, whenever you are adding 2 to each and every letter, you are doing encryption. You are doing encryption. At the receiving end, the receiver also uses the same key. Please remember. So here you are adding 2. So there at the receiving end you are subtracting 2, but 2 remains the same. So that is what is secret key. So both the sender and receiver should have that key. Okay. So if the sender also receiver also knows the key, so then only he is able to do decryption. So subtracting 2 from each and every letter, so that is what is decryption. Okay. Is that clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. See, now this is another type of cipher. Cipher in the sense secret. So it is encryption decryption algorithm. Okay. So encryption and decryption algorithm. So that system is called as cipher. So now substitution cipher. So whatever we discussed here, so that is also substitution. Okay, because SDMCT. So S is substituted by U, D is substituted by F, M is substituted by O, E is substituted by E, then E is substituted by G, and T is substituted by V. Okay, like this. Okay, so it is also whatever you are seeing, that is also substitution cipher. So another type of substitution cipher here, so he is discussing. So map each letter. See here, what we have done. So we have mapped each letter to some other letter based on some key value, some key value. So here, what he is doing. So map each letter or a numeral into another letter or a numeral. So randomly he is doing it. Okay. So he is doing it randomly. So A, B, C, D, C. You just see here A to Z. So these letters are there. So the corresponding, so should be replaced, A should be substituted by Z, B substituted by Y. So that means it is exactly reverse. Okay, it is exactly reverse. So Z, Y, X. Okay. So now can you tell me what is the key here? What is the key? See, A is replaced by Z, B is replaced by Y, C is replaced by X. Yes, is there any key, definite key?
No, sir.
See, there is no definite key because, see, now if you just see A is replaced by Z, that means you can say it is A plus 25 is Z. So here B, so B plus 24 is Y. So like this, so the key keeps on varying. So there is no fixed key here. There is no fixed key. Okay. So, but this this itself becomes a key. Okay, if sender and receiver, if they have this string, okay, so what they can do, so they can just whatever the text they have received, so they can just map it to this and obtain the plain text. They can do decryption. This whatever Z, Y, X, we so the reverse of this ABCD, so that itself is the key. That itself is the key in this case. Substitution key. Is it clear? Now, suppose he has given the example. The if I have received HVXFIRGB, okay. So if this is what is received, so what I have to do? You just see here. So H, if you have access to this, so then what happens? So H is replaced by S. H is replaced by S. So V. So where is V? So V is replaced by E. Okay, so this pattern you should both at the sending and receiving end you should have it, right? So you are doing decryption. So then X. So X is C. Okay, like that. Okay. So whatever you have received, so that can be converted into the plain text. That can be converted into a plain text. Is it clear? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so in substitution cipher, what actually we are doing? Every letter in the plain text, it is replaced by some other letter, right? So that is what is substitution. That is what is substitution. So this substitution cipher, so it was used by Julius Caesar. Okay, even he was using it, but his key was fixed. His key was 3. Okay, he was using it, right? So to send some secret messages, so he used to use it, right? And the substitution ciphers are very easy to break. So why? Because why the substitution ciphers are very easy to break? Hmm? Yes, can you just guess? So why substitution ciphers are very easy to break? See now in newspapers you normally get those jumbles. Okay, so have you solved them? Jumbles? Hmm? See, the question is why substitution ciphers are very easy to break. See, one thing you remember, generally what happens, suppose you read an English paragraph, any paragraph in general, right? Now, which is the more frequently occurring letter in it in any given English paragraph? So just guess, okay, just guess. So which is the most frequently occurring letter?
E, sir.
E. Good. Okay, so E is the most frequently occurring letter. Okay, so then what happens? Then it may be E, then it may be T, like that. Okay, so that means different letters. So different letters have got different frequencies of occurrence. Is it clear? So different letters have different frequencies of occurrence. Now Z, X, so these have they have got very least frequency. Okay, so, but these ovals, and also you can just think about this diagrams. Diagram in the sense the group of two letters. Suppose E always comes with maybe T. Okay, letter E always comes with letter T, or A comes with something like something some other letter. You can say B. Okay, so there is a particular pattern, so the frequency of finding a particular letter with some other letter, so it is more. Okay, it's all based on statistics, right? So, for example, THE, so it is the most frequently occurring letter. So, group of 3 letters. Okay, so once you know the frequency of the occurrence of an individual letter, so then you should next level is frequency of occurrence of group of 2 letters, then frequency of occurrence of group of 3 letters. So like that, so if you just go by the statistics, so it is, so that is what is called as cryptanalysis. Okay, so cryptanalysis is what? So trying to break the cipher, trying to break the cipher text. Is it clear? So that script analysis is what? So trying to, suppose I have received a cipher text, so I want to break it. Okay, but okay, so but I don't have the key, right? So if key is there, then it is very easy to get plain text. So but now given, so trying to convert a cipher text into a plain text without having the key. So that is what is called as cryptanalysis. Okay, okay, yeah. So this is what he is telling here. So take a histogram of frequency of occurrence of letters in a ciphertext message. So if you just plot the graph, okay, so that there you will get the frequency of occurrences of different letters. Okay, so I think whether he has given it or not, I don't know. So actually, so in in some cryptography and letter security books, so he has given. Okay, so E is the most frequently occurring letter. So then T, then A, like that. Okay, all ovals. Okay, so they have got very good frequency. So far we have discussed about substitution cipher. Please remember. So this is very important. So every letter in the plain text, it is substituted by some other letter. It is substituted by some other letter, right? So yeah. So next, transposition cipher. So substitution, this is one technique. So transposition is another technique. So here we are not substituting, but here, so what we are doing, we are changing the positions of the letters. We are changing the positions of the letters. Okay, so that means now you can just say, one second. Now you just tell me MEDSTC, what actually it means to you, right? MEDSTC, what does it mean to you? Hello? Please make a note of it. MEDSTC, whether it makes any sense to you.
No, sir.
Hmm? It is actually SDM CET subjected to transposition. If you just, it is like a jumble, right? So now what happens? It is actually SDM CET. So I have written it in this way. That means I have changed the positions of these letters. So that is what is transposition. That is what is transposition. Is it not? Okay. So SDM CET. So once it is transformed, so it can, so one example is MEDSTC. So it is actually SDM CET which is subjected to transposition, right? So what happens? So interchanging it is. So rearrange the order. So rearrange the order of letters in a message using a particular rearrangement. Okay, so interchange the character K with character K plus 1 like this, something like that. Okay, so here what he has done, so security he has converted into ESUCIRYT. Every two letters he has just interchanged. S and D he has interchanged. C and U he has interchanged. R and I he has interchanged. T and Y he has interchanged. So that has led to this. Okay, so this is also ciphertext. So this is also ciphertext. So here the what so here it is not substitution. We are not substituting a letter with some other letter, but instead what we are doing, we are rearranging. We are rearranging the plain text letters into some form, so which becomes meaningless for the others. Is it clear? So such jumbles you find in normally in daily newspapers. Is it not? Have you ever tried to solve them? Yes. Do you have practice of solving them? Okay. See, now transposition ciphers are easy to break. So normally you have practiced it. But so if the number of letters, if it is small, then it is very easy. But if it is a very big text, so then it is very difficult to break it. Okay. So transposition cipher. So if it is a small letter, SDMCET. So SDMCET, if it is transposed, so then so it may be very easy to break it because hardly 6 letters are there. But instead, if you go for letters, let us say 100 letters are there, so which is subjected to transposition. So then it is very difficult. It is very difficult. Okay. So the question may be that what is the difference between substitution cipher and transposition cipher, right? So you should be able to explain it using an example. Okay. So now this is secret key cryptography. Secret key cryptography. So here secret key means what? The sender and receiver only they know about this key. Okay, only the sender and the receiver they know about the key. Nobody else knows it. Nobody else knows it. So that is what is secret key cryptography, right? Now here you just see here, this is the block diagram. So plain text P is there. So this is our encryption algorithm. This is our encryption algorithm. Okay. Here some key is applied. Here some key is applied. So this plain text acts as input to this encryption algorithm, right? So this plain text P is encrypted using key K, using key K. So that's what is ciphertext. Okay. So the output of encryption is ciphertext. So that ciphertext C is equal to EK of P. Okay. Encryption of plain text P with key K. So that results in ciphertext C. So this ciphertext is what is received by the receiver. This is at the receiving end. So now at the receiving end, the receiver does decryption. Okay, here there is a decryption algorithm. So here there is a decryption algorithm. The same key is used. So whatever the key with which it is encrypted, the same key is used here for decryption, right? So the decryption, what is decrypted? It is, so here it is what? So P is equal to what? dk of C it is. dk of C. Please remember. So please write it. Actually, he should have given it. So P is equal to dk of C. Okay. Decryption of ciphertext C using a key K. So P is equal to dk of C. dk of C. Ciphertext is decrypted. See, here he has given. Okay, ciphertext is equal to EK of P. Plain text is encrypted using key K to generate a ciphertext. So the receiver, what he does? So receiver decrypts it. Receiver decrypts it by applying the inverse mapping. Okay, so DK decryption. So DK, so DK of, so EK of P is what? EK of P is C. Okay, so C is here substituted by EK of P. EK of P. So that is what? So decryption of the ciphertext that results in, because see one thing you remember here. So dk, so dk of ek of p. So that results in p. That means what? So that normally you can just say encryption and decryption are inverses of each other. Yes or no? Encryption and decryption, they are inverse. So once you multiply, it results in 1. So dk is inverse of ek, because you just see, remember, so encryption, for encryption you are adding 2, for decryption you are subtracting 2, so that is inverse. So here, so that is why encryption and decryption, since they are inverses of each other, so they get cancelled, right? So it results in p, is that clear? Yes, any doubts?
No, sir.
So what makes a good cipher? In the sense, what are the qualities, what are the desirable properties of a good cipher? Okay. So now, you just tell me. So whenever you are doing some encryption, okay, now what actually you want to keep secret? Whether you are going to keep the algorithm secret or whether you are going to keep the key secret, what actually you intend to keep secret?
I guess we gonna keep both of them secret, sir.
No, actually, the algorithms are standard algorithms. Normally, the encryption algorithms, what we use, so they are standard algorithms. So they are known to everybody. Okay. So the encryption algorithms you cannot keep secret, because so they are all standard things. They are all standard things. But what is kept secret is the key. Okay. So the key is kept secret. Okay. Normally, we intend to keep the key secret. So the algorithms are made public. Okay, because the algorithms need to be public, because that is how, because they become standard, they are standard algorithms. Okay, so that people can use them. Okay, everybody can use them. So the algorithms should be easy to implement. Okay, the algorithm, because it should not consume, because encryption should be very easy, the process of encryption should be easy, but the key should be secret. The algorithm should be easy to implement and deploy on a large scale. Okay, because suppose if encryption itself takes too much time, because the process is very, very complex, assume if the encryption process itself is very complex, then it consumes too much of computation power, right? So that is not a desirable quantity, desirable quality. Okay, algorithm should be easy to implement. So it is not expected that the algorithm should be complex. To be a good cipher or to be a good encryption algorithm, it is not expected that the algorithm should be complex. What should be complex? The key should be secret. Okay, so the algorithm should be difficult to break. Actually, algorithm should be difficult to break. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, because so once he says algorithm should be easy to implement, but algorithm should be difficult to break. So it is. So what he means to say here is ciphertext actually. So you are not breaking the algorithm. You are not breaking the algorithm. Your intention is to break the ciphertext. So ciphertext should be difficult to break, right? Because algorithm everybody knows. Okay, algorithm everybody knows. So you are not breaking the algorithm. Instead, you are breaking the ciphertext. Okay. So ciphertext is outcome of the what you can say the encryption algorithm, and the number of keys should be very large. Okay, so the number of keys, number of bits in the key, you can say. Suppose, so assume, so there are algorithms like RSA algorithm is. Okay, RSA is one algorithm that is used. See, earlier it had 64 bits. So now 64 bits, people with a lot of nowadays computation becoming very, very fast. So it was broken. So then what? So the 64-bit key was increased to 128-bit key. So then even that is also broken. So again, so they made it 256-bit key. So like this, so as and when the key is compromised, as and when the key is compromised, so normally what happens? The size of the key keeps on increasing, number of bits in the key. Okay, so number of keys should be large. So it is not just number of keys, it is number of bits in the key. Okay, number of bits in the key should be very, very large so that so it is not possible for the attacker to try all possibilities. So because this is very simple. Now assume that your key is only 2 bits. Okay, if you are using your key is having only 2 bits. So then how many combinations the attacker can try? 2 raised to 2. That means only 4 possible keys are there. Yes or no? So 0, 1, 2, 3. So these are the possible keys. Okay, if the number of bits in the key, if it is 8, so then how many combinations the attacker has to try? So 2 raised to 8. So 2 raised to 8. Okay, so that's the number of combinations. So that is why as the number of bits in the key increases, so then it increases the burden on the attacker. Okay, so the number of so the because the attacker has to try all possible keys, so that number goes on increasing. Okay, so secret key should be very hard to derive from the intercepted messages. In the sense, so if I get a, suppose I am an attacker, I get a ciphertext. Okay, so if I get a ciphertext, based on the ciphertext, it should not be possible for me to get the key. Okay, so secret key should be very difficult to be derived from the intercepted message. Intercepted message means what? Ciphertext. So if I have got a ciphertext, okay, so even with the plain text also, suppose I have got a plain text and the corresponding ciphertext. Okay, so but it should be very, very difficult for me to get the secret key because though the ciphertext is derived from plain text. So if I have access to both plain text and ciphertext, so if I want to derive key out of it, so that should be very, very difficult. Suppose if it is given like SDMCET, okay, this is a plain text. So if I am given SDMCET and UFOEGV, so both one ciphertext and plain text both are given to me, but it should be very difficult for me to uh, derive the secret key out of it. Okay, so that's how the algorithm should be. Even if a large number of plain text and corresponding ciphertexts are known, So though the plain text and ciphertext are known, so it should be very difficult for the attacker to come out with the key. So examples of secret key method discussed later. So these are the DES and DES. So these are the standard encryption algorithms so that are used. So you will see it later, right? So the session is going to conclude in another 2-3 minutes. So any doubts you have? Any doubts? Yes?
No, sir.
Yeah. So Pita, what is the strength today?
Sir, it is 31
31. So it is
now, but
reducing.
it was 35 when I took the
It was
attendance.
35. Okay. Okay. So I don't understand. So why it is reducing? Really don't know. So earlier it used to be somewhere around 50, 50, 51, 54. Okay. So now it is reducing. Why it is so? Hmm? Arpita, any guesses?
No, sir.
Hmm? Because these are
I don't
important
have an
topics.
idea.
If huh?
I don't have an idea
So you
about
don't
that.
have any idea. Okay. Okay, so only those who are absent, only they can answer this. Okay. Yes, right. But it is a matter of concern because these are so these are very good important things. If they miss them, so that is going to be problem. Because this is what I feel I have observed in the last evaluation. Because see, they prepare for first 3 questions and they have, I think they have thought of skipping these things. So that is why I think they might not be eager to attend these. I don't know, right? Anyway, so but tell them. So their CTA marks will be depending on these the attendance also, right? Okay. Yes. Thank you. So I'm closing the session, and you have to submit your assignments on Monday.
On Monday, sir.
Monday, latest by Monday.
Sir.